How's everybody doing today? This is L.A. Kendrick with a logical loquations broadcast. I want to touch on something real quick. Just got through hitting the heavy bag, making sure that I maintain, staying tip-top physical condition. That's what I've always done. So what I want to talk about today is when females play games, how they can go bad. And I'm gonna start off real quick with it. Again, these stories are stories that I sat down and I shared with my niece. And this particular day, me and my niece, I had come into town to spend time with her like I always did. And went to get her to go to the gym and train with me. So my mother stepped in and said, "Boy, leave that girl alone." And I looked at my mother and I'm like, okay, I've been noticing that every time I try to come get her as she gets older, you want to step in the middle and you want to say something. And I'm always respectful to my parents. So I kind of looked at my mom and I said, no, we're not going to do this. This is me and my niece and this is me and her. You're messing up my rapport with my niece. She needs me. There's no dad around. My stepdad had a stroke and a heart attack, so he's not part of the issue. He's not part of the situation. My dad still stays in the same town. They don't go see her. They don't spend the time with her. She needs that positive male energy. So the men that are around her are not even looking in her direction to promote her to be a strong female, to be logical, to be thoughtful, to have those ethics, to have that moral base, that strength, that communication skill that's so lacking in a lot of females as to how to conduct themselves or talk to people, whether that be at a job or the opposite sex. And I teach my niece that. So my niece looked and she was kind of reluctant. I said, all right, let's go. So she goes and we're going to the gym. Get in the car, and of course we go to the gym. And she's enjoying the gym. And we're talking and she wants to hear another story. And I mean, the story presented itself right there in front of us. There was, it's in two parts. There was a female that was there that was an underclassman when I was in high school, but she was just a raunchy, classless female. And I'm just gonna call it what it is. She was pretty much trash. She was doing everything, saying everything. And she always would mess with me, and I was involved with another female when I was in high school anyway, for my entire high school career, for the most part. And I remember having to tell that female something real slick one day because she kept on, every time she saw me, just running up and saying crap, and I would just avoid her. And just watching her, she was just really childish and really just, I don't know what was wrong with her. Saying the most outlandish things. So me and my niece had got through training, and this female was on the elliptical machine. And what she had done was somehow her face cloth that she's using to dry her face with, it had fallen to the floor. And she looked at me and she said, "Get that." My niece looked at me and my niece started laughing because I think my niece knew I was going to say something crazy if I even entertained her at all. And I said, "You better get your ass off of that damn thing and get it your damn self. Who you think you talking to? You was trash in high school, you still trash now." And she was in her 30s at the time. So nothing changed. And she had this look on her face. She had the same look on her face in high school when I used to diss her and tell her to get on and stop bothering me, stop pestering me. She had the same look on her face then as she did at that time that I said what I said to her. And as we were leaving, I was saying, that right there is what I'm talking about. I said, she's got 3 kids. I don't think she was ever married. But she frequented that Fort Campbell military base that's not far from where I'm from. And only thing she did good was keep herself physically fit. But that can't keep a man or keep a man interested in you. I said, but these are games that they play, man. And you may catch a dude on the wrong day. Not me, because I'm not going to jump on any female like that or do anything like that. And I don't advocate it. Which brings me to the second part of the story. The second part is, my niece, as usual, she said, well, you got a story for me? And I said, yeah. Because again, these are teaching moments from a man to a young lady who needs to understand what she's dealing with and who she is out here in society, how to conduct yourself in society. So I was explaining to her about a girlfriend of mine, because she was an actual girlfriend. And me and her were off and on, not like going back and forth as far as in the boyfriend-girlfriend capacity, but if she would call me and I would go hang out with her, and anybody at the time, if you called me and you needed me, whether you needed somebody to come pick you up from the club or your car broke down, it'd be 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, I'd get up and go get that individual, help them out, male or female. It's just the way I roll. If I consider you friend, there ain't nothing I won't do for you. And anybody that's listening to this that knows me personally, you know that's how I am. And this female, very nice looking. She looked like Lauryn Hill when Lauryn Hill was first doing her thing. She was taller than Lauryn Hill. She's like 6 foot with that nice smile, that really, really nice dark skin. Beautiful sister. And she calls me and says, can you come see me? And at this time she was in college. So I went to the dorm where she was staying and picked her up. And because everybody was at my place, my dad gave me keys to his place. So I took her to my dad's place, and she wanted some Boone's Farm. If you guys remember Boone's Farm, hard lemonade, that's what she wanted. So I got it, we went to my dad's crib, and remember, I don't drink. And she was drinking and having a good time. We were both laughing and talking about old times and when we met and all this other stuff. It was cool to converse with her. And she started getting a little frisky. And so I started reciprocating that back with her. And then she just started acting weird. I was like, okay, I don't know what's going on with her. So I'd never seen this side of her. And I've seen her drink before, so I can't blame it on the alcohol. So I really don't know what was going on with her. And she got to acting so weird. I said, okay, grab your stuff, let's go. I mean, she really had frustrated me to the point I was like, all right, we're gonna call it a night. I said, grab your clothes, whatever, shirt, whatever it was that she needed to grab. I said, let's go. So we get into the car, and I'm taking her back to her dorm on her college campus, of course. And on the way back, I was asking her what's going on with her, what's happening. And I think what was going on, she started realizing just how attractive she was. Maybe a lot of guys were giving her a lot of attention, a lot more attention. And you know how a lot of women are, they start feeling themselves. They don't understand that it ain't how you look, it's how you cook. And we're not talking about in the kitchen. Those of you know. It's not about being in the kitchen, so don't miss me with all this other stuff that you might try to throw in there, but you know what I'm talking about. And I told her, I said, you playing some dangerous games, man. And she said, I don't play games. And I'm like, oh, now you sassy? Now you got an attitude? I said, so when did this come about? She couldn't really explain it. All she could do was that typical female response as if, I don't really care. Why are you talking to me? And I'm thinking, wow, she's really changed. And it's before she got out the car, she said, I said, you're going to catch the right dude on the wrong night, and you're going to regret it. He's going to put hands on you. I said, a lot of dudes ain't going to play the games that you're trying to play. They just won't. I said, me, I'm just not that guy. I said, so you good? She said, nothing's going to happen to me, with this real nasty, saucy attitude. And I was like, wow, when did this happen, man? What happened to the girl I used to know? Oh, you're down here on this college campus, so things have changed, right? So I sat in the car and I make sure she makes it to her dorm room. She goes in, and I say maybe a year, and that's the last time I spoke with her before I drove off. And I say maybe a year, 6 months later down the road, I get a text from her, and she says, hey, how you doing? can you come by and see me? And I said, yeah. Because again, remember, we were just friends. We were just cool at this time, really, really cool. And I go down there to see her. When I get there, I go to her dorm, knock on the door. There's this dude about 5'6". He had long dreads, long fingernails. They were dirty fingernails. You could just see the dude. And I'm thinking, what the heck is going on here? And I asked for, the person. He said, no, she ain't here. I said, okay, cool. I said, I'm just one of her, just a friend of hers from high school. Hadn't seen her. We were real cool coming up as kids. I had to play it off because I didn't want any static, because I'm assuming this is somebody she's in. By his response and his body language, he was posturing, letting me know that this is his girlfriend, or there's something romantic going on with him and her. And you can see a lot of equipment in there, a lot of new stuff. DVR players. Yeah, at the time she was messing with DVRs, and I think there was a DVD player, a DVD player, and TV and all this other, nice stuff in her dorm. And I left, and as I was leaving, I noticed he kept watching me, coming out on the balcony, looking down at me, thinking, "What's this? Okay, dude, I already told you, I'm good. I didn't know." But sometimes you get angry, and I was like, "Well, I'm not gonna let myself get angry," so I got in the car and I left, because anything could have happened at that point. So I called her and I said, "Hey, what's going on? What's going on with your boyfriend?" She's like, "Oh, well." I said, "Why don't you tell me you had a dude, man? This is how people get in trouble. This is how people get hurt. Come on now, you gotta be better than this." And so my niece said, "Well, why did you still fool with him?" I said, "Well, it'd been a year, and I was just hanging out, or still being cool with her, because this is the way that I am." I said, "You don't get very many chances to mess over me and before I bow out." So I continue the story, and I say maybe 2, maybe 3 weeks later, she calls me around 9 o'clock, and the fellows was at the house, and they were playing 2K. If y'all remember the 2K basketball, we used to throw money in a pot and winner take all, and we would do that for hours, right? And she called me and said, "Can you come get me?" And I said, "Why? What's going on now?" And she said, "Well, turn on your TV and turn to this channel." I turned to the channel, and what we saw on TV was like it was a crime scene, and you could see where there were EMTs. There was an EMT there. There were cop cars. There were campus cop cars and the city cop cars there. And I'm like, "Okay, is this you?" And she says, "Yes." She said, "Can you come get me?" I said, "Why don't you call your mom?" She said, "I don't want her to know what's going on." I said, "Okay." So the dude that usually keeps the house when I leave, I trust him to lock up everything. I said, "In case I'm not back in time." He said, "Well, you need me to go with you?" I said, No, I'm good, bro. I'm good, bro." So I said, "Just lock up when everybody leaves." He said, "All right." So I leave and go to the campus to get her. And I mean, man, when I got there, it was cop cars everywhere. And I could see her sitting with an EMT, and they were shining that flashlight. You know how they check to see if you have any kind of concussions or anything like that? They checked her for that, and then I remember them putting a big Band-Aid on her forehead. And it was you could still see it was actually bleeding through the Band-Aid by the time she got in where we were talking. And I said, "Geez, what the hell happened here?" And she goes, when she said, "Hey, thank you for coming. I really appreciate this." You could tell she was shaken up. And I said, "What happened?" She said, "That guy jumped on me." I said, "Really?" She said, "Yeah. Can we leave?" I said, "Yeah, let's go." Because they were through talking to her. And I don't know if they ever caught the dude. But that dude tore into her ass like a bag of chips. And that place was wrecked. And I asked her, I said, "Well, what was going on?" She said, "Well, he's just a little drug dealing dude." I said, "Well, why would you get involved with that kind of mess?" "Well, I said, "No, I don't know. So what's going on?" And she's trying to break it down and trying to explain how nice he was and how cool he was. And I'm like, "But you made everything difficult for me." "Well, you have all these other females around you, and I'm looking at her like, what they got to do with you making it difficult difficult for me? Because if I'm with you, I'm exclusive to you. So what are we talking about here? And I didn't jump on you. And I said, this is the lesson from playing games with people. And I told you and I warned you about this. So we pull up to an Arby's, and he beat her up so bad that, like, there wasn't even a whole lot of stuff on her face, but maybe I don't know. You could tell she was traumatized. And remember, now, mind you, I'm not advocating any violence towards women or anybody, men or women. And so let's just get that out the way. But we went to Arby's, and she was trying to buy me food. And she's never, in all the time I've known her, and I've known her at that point about 5 or 6 years at that point, she's never tried to buy me any food, any meals, anything like that. Everything was always on me. And she tried to offer to buy food, and I said, no, I got it. So we pull up to my spot. Everybody was gone at that time. She sat on the love seat. I sat on a chair, in a chair with a footstool, and we were still discussing what had happened. And she was talking about how he was worthless and all that stuff. And I said, no, don't do that now. He bought you all that stuff. Now it's trash. Now he's trash. So if he's trash, what are you, a trash collector? Because you knew better. But hey, you played, you gambled, and you crapped out. Own it. Take some accountability. This is your fault. You knew this dude wasn't somebody you could deal with. You want to try to change the don-dons and the main and make these guys something that they're not. A lot of these guys come from broken homes. Ain't no dad around. Moms chose badly. I said, you know the drill. So we were chilling out. She was dozing off. And I said, okay. So she's dozing off. And she was jumping in her sleep. She came over to me when she woke up again, and she said, can I sit with you? And I said, yeah. So she's trying to hold me. And then she dozed off again, holding me. She kept jumping. So I tried to get out from under her, but she wouldn't let me go. But then I finally got away from her and let her sleep. So around 12 o'clock, I took her home, took her back to her dorm. At that point, once I dropped off at her dorm, didn't see her for a long time after that. But then when I did see her again, she had a kid by one of the guys at the factory that was knocking off everybody at the factory. That dude didn't want anything to do with the kid. Now I'm really shaking my head. That was the lesson that I talked to my niece about, playing silly games and winning silly prizes. So we have to teach better to the next generation. That's what it's about. It's not about any of us now. It's about the next generation. And I almost said that word. Women need to do better. A lot of women need to do better. Teach these kids. Share with them your painful experiences and own it. Make sure that you have accountability in that situation. Anything that I've ever had done to me wrong by a female, it's my fault. I own it. And that's what I told my niece. Own it. And that's going to close out logical equations. This is a lesson here. Stop playing games out here. City girls going to get you messed up, as you see a lot of Instagram girls out here going down, dying, being dismembered, things like that. That life is trash. Learn how to communicate. Stop gambling with your lives. Pick better men, make better choices. Women, you have to do this. Or what's the alternative? Y'all be safe. And this is for my niece and any other young lady that needs this information.